Hi everybody, Susie Fido here from Marketing with Ethics, and today we're going to be talking about a new subject this month to try and help you to prepare into next year, and that's how to create an effective marketing strategy. Before we get started, I just want to do our usual housekeeping because obviously we're starting this in our wonderful group Ethical Marketing for Business Owners, but if you are watching on our page, which is Marketing with Ethics, please do feel free to come and join us on the actual group, because we do get much more in depth in there to really help people out. So let's just get that shared across there. Excellent. So where to start? Creating a marketing strategy. I thought it would be a good idea to do this now. For those of you that haven't got one created in preparation for next year, it gives you the opportunity to at least start getting something down on paper. Why have a marketing strategy? Quite frankly, if you know what your goals are and what you're wanting to achieve, you are far more likely to achieve them. And we all want everybody to be successful, especially within our wonderful ethical marketing group for the business owners that we have there. So basically, in my opinion, there are 7 main stages to a marketing strategy. The first stage is probably not one that you would necessarily think would be the first stage, and that is to understand your buyer's journey. So before you can work out what sort of work you're going to do, you need to understand where they are within your sales funnel and what activities would get them to that next level for you. So understanding how your customer's buyer journey works helps you to evaluate what activities to do in order to help them along the way. So I am going to be writing a completely separate blog based on that, because that is just a whole persona on its own, and I will actually be covering that in much more detail next week in the Facebook Live. We'll concentrate specifically on that subject. But depending on where they are in that funnel will determine what kind of activity you're going to be doing. For example, the very start of it, which is the A for awareness. This is people that don't even necessarily know that your product or even your business exists, because unless you have a very large brand, there's not going to be masses and masses of people that are going to know about you, let alone that you are the solution to their problem. So there's a very well-known sales funnel acronym, which is AIDA, A-I-D-A, and it says about the 4 steps of the sales funnel. In my opinion, there are 5. But the 4 steps they talk about are awareness. So this is where you increase awareness about your product. Now, the ways you can do this is through social media posts, through blogs, etc. So getting into communities where your ideal audience is and get talking to people so that they even know you exist. The second stage of the buyer's journey, and again, this will vary depending on what niche you're in, but these are the basic areas, and then you can personalize them to your particular niche. The second one is the I for interest, which I would actually class more as education. So this is people who do now know that you are existing. They may even be following you on social media. They may be on your email list. So it's about educating them why you are the best person. What are your unique selling points? What differentiates you to your competitors? Give them some great valuable content that they can get some wins with to get the next stage down. The next stage is D for decision. And this is basically, to me, this is where people will actually go off and look externally. So no longer necessarily relying on just you and your word for how good you are, but they'll be looking for other ways for, social recognition that you are the best. They've made that decision. They do need a product. They do need a service. Now it's about reassuring them that you are the best fit for them. So they've already made their minds up that they are going to go ahead and make a purchase. It's now just who it's going to be from. So this is where your reassurance with things like case studies, testimonials, reviews, even maybe depending on what your product is, offering a free trial or something like that, so they can test your wares. So decision making is probably quite a crucial step, and this is where a lot of people can fall down because they'll automatically as such. I've never agreed with that sort of approach. To me, it's all about giving relevant information and letting them make an informed decision themselves. Hi guys, thank you very much for joining us. We've got Judasal, Srishti, and also Roberta. Thanks for joining. And the one that most people think is the last one is the A for AIDA, which is action or purchase. So this is where people have decided, yes, you are the person to go with. They've handed over their hard-earned cash, they've signed a contract with you, and they've either purchased a product or a service. And this is where a lot of people stop and think, great, that's it. We've got them to the bottom of the funnel. But that's not true. To me, there is one more vital step, and that is loyalty. So this is where you really look after your existing customers. It is far easier to get repeat custom from somebody, or to upsell, depending on what your product or service is, to somebody who already has purchased and committed funds to you for something previously. And if you've kept them happy, they're more likely to come back to you as a repeat customer, but also to become a raving fan and promote you to other people, which could actually bring them in further down that buyer's journey rather than just back at the awareness stage. So the loyalty to me is absolutely crucial, to have people who are there waving their banners for you, shaking their pom-poms, as Cheryl within our group would say, and being your cheerleaders for you and helping you to really get that promotion out there and get that awareness out there to everybody else. So understanding your buyer's journey will determine what sort of content you're putting out there for them. I do apologise, I've got a thing coming up saying I've got a poor network connection, so you may be watching this on playback and it may be working fine. If not, if necessary, I will redo this. So that is just stage one. Stage two is to then actually know what your business goals are. So what is it that you want to achieve? Now, the first thing that people automatically think is, I want more sales. But when you look at the customer buying journey, most of them will come in at the very top, which is at the awareness level. So they're not aware of you. They're wanting to know more, and you're needing to get your brand awareness out there to them. So just going straight in for the sale isn't going to work. So what sort of goals do you want? And be more specific with them. We have what's called the SMART goals, which is your specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So really think about it and get specific with it. So for example, if you want to increase your email list, what do you want to increase it to? What's the point in saying I want to increase it? You need to have something measurable that you can actually say, I want to increase it to, say, 5,000 on my email list within the next 90 days. We're currently at 3,200. Therefore, I need to increase it by 1,800. To do that, I will be doing X, Y, and Z, putting this out there, putting that out there, etc., etc. And this is what we mean by getting specific, making them measurable. If you're looking at a long-term goal, then you need to have milestones along the way so you can track your progress and make sure that you are on track to achieve them. Because there's nothing worse than having, say, a 1-year goal and you get to 9 months and it's like, bugger, not made it. And then you've only got 3 months left to do all the work to get it in place. So knowing what your goals are and being specific with them and when you're going to achieve them by. But like I say, one of them is attainable. There's no point saying, I want 10,000 people on my email list in the next 2 weeks. Make them achievable, attainable goals. They have to be ones that will stretch you, but they also have to be ones that you can achieve, because otherwise you'll become disheartened and your strategy will just fall apart. Also, they need to be relevant. There's no point saying that I want to get out this new product to customers, to consumers, to, year-end, not business to business. And we're going to create this product and we're going to have this done and we're going to have that done. And actually, that's not one of the long-term business goals. That's not what you want to go towards. That's like me sitting there saying, I'm going to create these free downloads to do with Instagram, when Instagram isn't something that we cover. We look after Google Ads and we look after Facebook. So why would I start trying to really attract people on platforms that we're not the experts on? So they need to be relevant to your overall business goals as well. So that's setting your goals. Number 3 is to do what we call a SWOT analysis. I know we're coming up with so many marketing acronyms, but they do work. SWOT meaning your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Now, you do this based on yourself and your competitors, because you need to have kind of a current analysis of where your business is. Again, there's no point saying I want to achieve 5,000 people on my email list within the next 3 months and you're already on 4,999. So unless you know where you are now, you're not really going to understand how much work is involved to achieve where you want to be. So the SWOT analysis will not only look at your current situation as far as the goals you're looking at going for and where you are to where you want to go, but it's also looking at other things. For example, your strengths. What is it that your business does better than other people who are competitors to you? What is it that is your unique selling point? Have you got a great skill set? Have you got the experienced staff? Have you got the resources laid up for the free guidelines, etc., etc.? On the other hand, you then look at the weaknesses, which could be the opposite to that. So when you're looking to see what your strengths are, you may think, actually, we need to do these updates to the website. We need to create this first. So you're looking at your weaknesses of things that you're lacking at the moment. Now, that's not being negative, because everything that you work out that needs to be done, you can then put into your plan. So looking at your weaknesses, what is it that your competitor does better than you? So therefore, how can you improve it? How can you make that different? What is it that you need to do? Do you need to do extra training to get people up to scratch, etc.? So looking at your weaknesses. Then you're looking at your opportunities. Now, with your opportunities, you're looking at things like, there's not much competition in the area. There's a real need for the product. There's a real market out there for it. We've got a great price range for it. We can give an introductory offer. So those kind of things are opportunities that can help you to get that brand awareness and get that sale. And then you want to look at things like the threats as well. Is it a highly competitive market and more competitors coming in? Is it something that, say, you've got a physical location and maybe you're not right in the centre of things, so you've got competitors who are, so therefore you're on the outskirts a bit more? Is it that something you do can change from a regulation point of view? For example, marketing, one of the biggest changes we had a few months back was GDPR. So that was a threat, basically, as far as marketing was concerned, to work out what changes you would need to make to fall in line with it. So look at what those external threats are. Are you at risk of not looking after your staff well enough, so therefore the skill set you've got are leaving? So really look into that based on yourself and also your competitors. And that way you can really work on your strengths and really use those for your marketing, whilst in the background improving on the weaknesses as well. So that's number 3, which is doing your SWOT analysis. Number 4 is to absolutely 100% know who your target audience is. You want to know everything you can about them. Now, this isn't just saying, oh yeah, well, I'll sell to everybody. Let's say, for example, you have a range of hemp clothing, and you sell men's, women's, children's, etc. So therefore, you think your target audience is everybody. Well, not necessarily, because people who specifically go for, say, hemp type products may be more environmentally conscious. So that's niching down a little bit more. It's also a case of, therefore, if you're doing like children's clothing, you're looking for families. So you want to check on things like what is, if you could have just one customer, what would they look like? What would their age be, their gender, their job title, their income level, their relationship status? Where do they hang out? What is it they love? What are they passionate about? What are their biggest fears? From a psychological point of view, it really helps you to drill down and get into speaking to them on their level and their terms. And your marketing will be far more successful than if you just generalize to everybody. So really, really get to know who your ideal audience is. And I'm probably going to do the 3rd session of this month based on identifying who your ideal client is, because it is such a crucial step that anything you do, whether it's social media, whether it's blog writing, whether it's adverts, whether it's networking that you go along to, if you don't know who your ideal audience is, then you're not going to be speaking to anybody specific and your marketing can fall apart. So I'm not going to be doing a Facebook Live on the week between Christmas and New Year. I'm actually taking some time out. So we're only going to have 3 this month. So next week's one will be about the customer's buying journey, and the week after we will do about identifying your ideal clients. There will be some blogs going out on the other sections as well, so you'll still get some information on them. But with us being time restraint, I will be looking at those as the Facebook Lives. So once you've actually worked out who your audience is, the next thing is to work out what platforms you're going to be using. So you want to, say, for example, increase your email subscribers to 5,000. So how are you going to do that? Where are you going to advertise? Is it going to be on Facebook? Is it going to be on Twitter? Is it going to be in blogs? Is it going to be a form on your website? Is it going to be going along to networking meetings? Really drill down to what platforms, and when you've worked out your customer persona, one of the things you're finding out is where they like to hang out. So there's no point spending all your time on Twitter if your customers hang out on Instagram. There's no point in putting all your efforts into the website if actually face-to-face is what works best. So finding out what websites they like to go on, what magazines they read, what groups they're involved in, etc., will help you to know where you want to put your efforts in. So you really want to work out your ideal customer to then know where you're going to find them. Number 6 is the metrics side, which kind of comes into the goals with the SMART goals when we said the M for SMART is measurable. Now, you need to know what is classed as success and what is classed as progress. Because again, if you're sitting there, I keep using the example of 5,000 email subscribers. So you have 5,000 email subscribers as a target. If you're getting, and you want that in 3 months, if you're not saying, therefore, we're looking to get 1,000 per month, because we've got 2,000 at the moment, 1,000 per month over the next 3 months, where are you looking to get them from? You're going back to the platforms where we're working on Facebook, we're working on LinkedIn, we're working on blogs. Right, so therefore, you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z activities on Facebook, and with that, you would expect to get 500 per week off of Facebook, you would expect to get this off of here, and really break that down. So you want X amount off of this platform doing this activity within this time period. And again, like I said, if you're looking at long-term goals, you want to have milestones along the way so that you can look and you can see quickly if it's working, if it's not working. If it's not working, you've then got time to change direction. And I'm not necessarily saying change your goals, but it may be change the activities you do in order to achieve those goals. It may be that you've been pouring your heart out on Twitter and you're just not getting anything from it. However, maybe on Facebook, you're getting superb results. So you'll switch your efforts to Facebook. But if you're leaving that till the last minute, then you're just going to miss your goal. So you need to have those milestones along the way if it is a more distant overall goal that you're going for. So those metrics, like I say, they need to be measurable, they need to be time bound, they need to be very specific. So that kind of comes back in to what was number 2, which was knowing your business goals. And the last one, and this is the one, especially when it comes to small businesses, is probably one of the most difficult, and that's your budget. Knowing how much to spend on each activity. Now, when we talk about each activity, that's not necessarily physical paid advertising. When you've carried out your SWOT analysis, you may actually realise you need extra members of staff, so you've got to consider wages. You may need some technical support for doing some updates to your website. So again, you may be calling in somebody from outsourcing, and therefore there's going to be a cost involved with that. You may be wanting somebody to design some work for you, some advertising banners or, pages into a magazine or whatever it is you're looking at doing. So there is a cost involved with any of that. And you need to ensure that this budget is realistic. We would all love to get free customers. We would all love to get a customer costing us £10 for advertising and they're worth £3,000 to us. But it's not realistic. For example, we do Google Ads and we see it a lot when we have people come along and we carry out the free performance checks that we do. And, they've got a budget of, say, £5 per day. But the actual competition out there is causing each click to cost, say, £10 a day, and they're wondering why they're getting no results. Or they might even be spending £20 a day, and it's costing them £10 per click, but they're expecting to get 20 clicks a day for it. So you need to ensure that the budget really does match the results that you want to achieve. So as part of the analysis that you're doing, you're checking into, what sort of costs are involved with these things. Is it something that is feasible for you? And are you going to give it a realistic attempt? So budget is the last one of the 7. So just to very quickly recap, we've got number 1 is understanding your buyer's journey, which we'll go into much more in depth next week, and I will be creating a blog on that. Number 2 is to know what your business goals are. So, like I say, the SMART goals: smart, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Number 3 is to carry out the SWOT analysis, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Again, there will actually be a blog specifically about that one as well, so it will go more in depth into it. Number 4 is to know who your target audience is. And again, I will be doing a Facebook Live session on this, because this is probably the biggest stumbling block that people have, because they leave the target audience too broad because they're so concerned they're cutting out opportunities for others. And that's not the case. What you may be deterring is people that actually you don't want to work with. And isn't it far better to have only people that you want to work with than to be having to make that decision whether you're going to take on a client which isn't your ideal kind of client? Number 5 is what platforms you're going to use. What methods are you going to use to actually do it? Number 6 is what metrics. So how are you going to measure it? How are you actually going to work out what is needed, what is achievable, and set some milestones if it's a longer term goal. And number 7 is give yourself a realistic budget for these activities, and make sure you include everything into that. So whether that's training, wages, outsourcing any of the work, as well as the actual ad spend itself. So that's all for today. We've actually had that for quite a bit now. So I will be writing up the blog. It is half done at the moment. I will add that in. For those of you watching from our page, Marketing with Ethics, that will be on our page on Saturday. But do feel free, like I say, to pop across to our group, Ethical Marketing for Business Owners. It's a fantastic forum of very like-minded business owners who really want to market their ethical businesses and get some success online. And that's what we're all here for, is to support each other. Have a fantastic day, everybody. If you have got any questions, do post them in the comments below, and I will speak to you all again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.